About a very controversial subject, Buddhism and Christianity. And, I want to say that there are a couple of components to talking about or having a dialogue about Christianity and Buddhism. And one of the common aspects is that we have mutual respect and tolerance for each other, meaning that we should be able to interact and talk about our religions without, without trying to convert the other person or to make them feel bad about what their beliefs are. The other part is that we need to humbly listen to other people's points of view. And sometimes that can be kind of hard because when you feel, as some of you may know, when you feel passionate about something and someone tells you, that that's not accurate and that there's another way and that's the right way, you can get defensive. So, what we, or I should say what Nichiren Buddhism encourages is dialogue and interaction. Let's talk about, how we're similar. Let's talk about how we're different without criticizing or blaming or putting down the other person's faith. And we also encourage face-to-face communication, just going around and talking to other people. And Christianity and Buddhism are similar that way because Christians like to talk about their faith and share it with other people, and sometimes even go door to door. Buddhists don't necessarily do that anymore. This particular Buddhist sect doesn't do that as much. They did do that in the very beginning, but now we have other ways of transmitting the information. The other part that's really important is that interfaith dialogues serve the creative development of one's own faith, meaning if you listen to other people's belief systems about religion, it expands your life as well, and it also it adds to the creativity of your own mind, and that's a positive thing. And the other thing that having a dialogue on Buddhism and Christianity is that it inspires us to work together to aid the global issues that we have going on, like world hunger or war, peace. What's encouraged is that, if a person is Buddhist and a Christian, they can collaborate together to reinforce the idea of peace, for example. So let's talk about, I'm going to break up some of these points and these discussion points on Buddhism and Christianity. And the points I'm going to talk about are compassion and love, overcoming human suffering, facing death, human dignity or the dignity of life, and then I'll kind of summarize a little bit for you. One of the good things that about this particular Buddhism is that Shakyamuni Buddha was a teacher. But the other great thing is that Nichiren Buddhists see that Jesus was also a teacher. And so one of the main similarities is that Jesus and Shakyamuni were both teachers of humanity. And we know, and I'll talk a little bit about that now. Anyway, there's the idea of Christian love has a lot in common with the Buddhist idea of compassion. And both religions share the religious idea of redemption. So, salvation. Buddhist compassion, when you hear someone talk about Buddhist compassion, that's comparable to Christian mercy. And that's one of the ways, and when I say Christian mercy, it is, from my understanding of Christianity, is the idea that you, if someone is trying to persecute you, that you have mercy on them and pray for them, okay? And that's similar to what Buddhist compassion is. I have a long section to do here, so I'm probably going to run over my time a little bit, but both, as I said, both Jesus and Shakyamuni were teachers, and what their goal was to inspire people to elevate their life. They wanted to teach people how to break through the barriers of their inner world and become happy. And they, for Buddhism, that's called the fundamental darkness in one's life, okay? And in Christianity too, it's this idea that, you know, you can create unhappiness, or you can create happiness out of unhappiness. And that's one thing that they had in common. And the Christians call this elevated state of life a union with God. And Buddhists describe it as enlightenment. Okay? So when Buddhists develop their wisdom and their knowledge, it's enlightenment. And with Christians, they consider that to be a union with God. They feel connected with God. Both religions also, let me go back a little bit. I mentioned that the Christian idea of love is similar to the Buddhist idea of compassion. The Nichiren Buddhists have compassion for all living beings, for their inherent Buddha nature. And we haven't talked about that, but that's kind of your highest self, your best self, okay? And that's echoed in Christianity as well. For people, you'll hear people say that people are created in God's image. And that's the same idea as Buddhism, believing that we all have a Buddha nature. So both religions also share the same idea about the redemption of mankind. And Buddhist compassion embraces all mankind, all things and events, and they're all interconnected. Now, one thing I want to mention real quickly is that the love preached by Jesus, you know that Jesus always said one common thing that you hear is love your enemy and pray for those who persecute you. That's what Jesus taught, okay? And so that refers to a general love of all mankind, and that applies to everyone. So Jesus, like Shakyamuni, wanted you to love your neighbor and love those that are trying to persecute you or bring you down.